listener production.
Hello, Sacha Barbour Gatt with you. Welcome to The Briefing. You could argue the business of getting married in Australia has kind of gotten out of control, with the industry worth close to $5 billion each year. Your wedding is among the biggest things that'll happen to you in your lifetime, if you choose to have one, that is. And for those who do try to have the best day of their life, the pressure is on. You need the perfect venue, the most amazing outfit, gorgeous flowers, incredible food, free-flowing booze. And that's just the top line stuff, ignoring issues like family expectations, who you'll invite, organising gifts for bridal parties. The list goes on. The work and stress that goes into planning a wedding can be extreme, and for some women, it takes all the enjoyment out of it. And some, for whatever reason, might not feel like they have the support system to pull it off. Enter Kerstyn Walsh, the owner and founder of Hire a Bridesmaid. She is literally a mate for hire, specifically for wedding days. Since starting in 2015, Kerstyn's business has boomed from offering just herself up to having a whole team of hireable bridesmaids. So why have weddings gotten so out of control that people are hiring friends to be there? And what does the future look like for holy matrimony in Australia? Kerstyn joins me now to talk about it. Welcome to The Briefing, Kerstyn. Look, you call yourself a professional bestie. Explain why you felt like there was this need for paid friends at weddings in Australia.
Yeah, I mean, it actually started by accident initially, where I didn't actually think people would need this kind of service. And then sure enough, it turned out that there is a need for people to have someone by their side who understands weddings, who's been there before, who's seen it all happen, and who can kind of support them through the process, not just necessarily on the wedding day, but in the lead up to it as well, because it can be quite a stressful time. And so we kind of filled that gap for people where they were like, yes, I have friends. Yes, I have people I want to stand beside me on the wedding day, but I want someone else who can kind of get it.
Can you explain to me, you told me this just before we hit record, and I think it's a really interesting story, how you actually became a bridesmaid for hire. It was all down to the name of your business, wasn't it?
Yeah, I thought I was being very clever calling my wedding planning and coordination business Hire a Bridesmaid. This is back in 2015, so it's a long time ago. I thought, oh, what a great business name. It's catchy. People will remember it. And then a lovely gentleman found us online and said, hey, I'm looking for a bridesmaid for my wife-to-be. She doesn't have anyone here in Australia. They're all based overseas, and I need someone who'll be by her side. Would you be interested? And of course I said yes. What a great opportunity. Count me in. I had no idea what to expect. And then it kind of just grew from there.
Yeah, see, I feel like you've kind of made this job up, and I'm really keen to hear what it looks like. How does it work? You know, do you pretend to be the bride's friends to her family and her other friends? Are you kind of going and being like, yeah, I'm Kerstyn, like we've known each other for years. We just, I've never crossed paths with the rest of her family. How does it work for you? Do you have to keep this big secret that you're actually being paid to be there?
Yes and no, on a case-by-case basis. Some of the clients that hire us are more than happy to tell, their partner, their friends, their family that we are hired to be there. Some of them absolutely want that discretion and they don't want us to say to anybody, and that's absolutely fine. But really, we sit down with our clients when they inquire. We have a phone call with them, like a getting to know you chat, to find out what is it that you're looking for? How much assistance do you need? Is it just someone to put on the matching dress and stand there by your side? Or do you want us to actually coordinate the wedding from sort of behind the scenes as well? What's the level of service that they're looking for? And then we explain to them that we come up with a kind of backstory. So we try and keep it as close to reality as possible. We often find that, I don't know if it's like this part of Australia type thing, but we all have something in common eventually, whether it's university or a friend of a friend or something. So we try and pick something that's believable, that's not too crazy, because the more detailed it gets, the harder it is to remember. And then that's the story that we agree upon telling people.
Yeah, wow. It's like you kind of get to pretend to be a spy or something. I love it. I'm interested to know, what is the main function of a hired bridesmaid? And I know it would vary on a case-to-case basis, but tell us like what your average day would look like if you were hired to be someone's bridesmaid.
Yeah, so as I said, it starts beforehand. Often it might be attending the hens party. It might be going to the bridal shower if they have one of those too, meeting the other bridesmaids, going dress shopping, all those things. But a typical day itself would be being there from as early as everyone else is, doing the hair and makeup. Maybe we go that extra step and we're the one that's like, who needs breakfast, who needs a coffee or whatever, just because we can't help ourselves. Um, and then getting ready with the rest of the bridesmaids, supporting the bride through the wedding, and then, being there till the end of the night. So it's kind of like being paid to party, but without the like crazy party part.
Yeah, okay. So is the idea that you kind of stay a little bit sober, like you're not kind of letting loose and cutting? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And it's funny, like my personality is very much like I don't need a drink to have a good time anyway. And the girls are the same. We're very much like, we're one sip Sallies anyway, so we'll just not drink and have a great time regardless.
Yeah, so you referred there to the other girls. So your business has expanded to the point where you've had to hire additional women to come on and be hired bridesmaids. I'm keen to know, have you branched out into hiring groomsmen? Have you been approached by men to do similar things?
We sure have. Yep. So we have hire a bridesmaid and hire a bridesman, or hire a groomsman, depending on what people are looking for.
Yeah, wow. How much is it? Is it super duper expensive? I can imagine having to attend a bunch of events in the run-up would be pretty exy.
Look, it can be, yes. Basically, you're paying for someone's time necessarily. I'm not in that sort of thing to make a huge profit. Our business, certainly, that service is the easier one, I would say, where you just do get to turn up and have a good time and remember your story and move on. The on-the-day only service, and it does, again, depend on how much they want us around, but the on-the-day only service is around $1,000 to $1,500, depending on how much they want us there. And they also pay for things like the dress, if they want us to wear a specific dress, if they want us to have our hair and makeup done, they would pay for that as well.
What are your clients, like the people who are accessing this particular service, what is the average woman or person who is putting their hand up to hire a bridesmaid? What does their life look like, and why are they reaching out for this service?
They are the most normal people. You would not assume that they didn't have someone by their side. They are lovely, lovely human beings who really just want someone who's going to have their back. Quite often, they actually do have real friends and real family members who they can have as their bridal party or their wedding party, but they're not as reliable as what somebody who is paid might be. That could be that they've been friends for a really long time. All their friends aren't married yet, so they're young and they don't have someone that actually understands weddings are quite a big project. Or it could be that their friends and family are older and they have children and family and other things to look after, and therefore can't be by their side through all the appointments and all of the chats beforehand. So they're looking for that extra level of support, and they're just normal people. I think people assume with hire a bridesmaid that it's this really sad thing where people don't have friends, but they actually do. It's just they don't have that someone that they can rely on the wedding day, and that's where we come in.
Look, obviously this is your livelihood, but does it make you sad at all that women are feeling so stressed about their wedding and the expectation that is on the day and the lead up to the day, that they're hiring someone to pretend to be their friend? Effectively, that's what you are doing. Like, is that kind of a little bit depressing for you? Has the wedding industry gotten so insane that people are going, I need to hire friends now?
Look, it's a good question. I think it is sad that people are feeling that way in the lead up to what is supposed to be such an important part of their lives. I actually had this discussion with a client just last week who we're coordinating on the day for them, but she has just been swamped with work and life, and they've moved house and it's too much. And so she's, crying to me in this meeting because she hasn't been enjoying the wedding planning process at all. So I think that part for me is really sad because it should be this really exciting event. I also think that maybe we're putting too much pressure on ourselves. I have that beautiful outlook based on so many years of experience that when I got married just this year in April, I was able to enjoy the process and just kind of let go on the day. But I can totally see how hard that would be if this is your one chance to have this one day and you put all that pressure on yourself. So as for the hiring someone to come and stand by their side, I don't find it sad necessarily. I think it's sad that perhaps they haven't had that support elsewhere and they've had to come to a service to do so. But for us, it's like cool that we're the people that are able to provide that for them.
Look, before we let you go, I'm keen to ask, because there's this kind of rhetoric around at the moment, especially post-COVID. Well, some would say because of COVID, that there's this swing to more, what we just talked about, where we were saying, the pressure and the expectations is so big that now there's this move in the opposite direction where it's elopements and it's small weddings and it's like dinners with 20 guests. Are you noticing that as well? Or do you think that kind of idea is a bit overblown?
No, I think it's true. I wouldn't say it's what everyone's doing. I think so many people still want that really big celebration with everyone that they know and love there. And I think that's fantastic. And it's definitely great for the industry. But I think if you ask anybody in the wedding industry, we've certainly seen a slowdown in the number of weddings that we're booking in the last kind of 12 months or so, and into the future as well. Like, people are booking less in advance. So I don't know if that's that they're just deciding, I don't need the big thing and I'll leave everything to the last minute. But we're certainly seeing a lot of smaller weddings, intimate dinners, and not necessarily like just 10 people. We did one just on the weekend for a lovely couple where there were 45 of their nearest and dearest. And they just had the best time because they could have conversations with everyone. So it's not overblown as such. I think it's not as many as what we're saying, but there's definitely a lean towards smaller, more intimate events. And they save money. Cost of living, man. It's like people who are struggling to pay other things. You don't want to have to pay for $80,000+ wedding if you can avoid it.
Yeah, definitely. If you can avoid $80,000 on a wedding, I'm sure most people would opt for the cheaper one.
Yeah.
Kerstyn, it's been absolutely fascinating speaking to you. Thank you so much for joining us today on The Briefing.
Thank you, Sacha. Thanks for your time.
That was Kerstyn Walsh, the founder and owner of Hire a Bridesmaid. And that is it for this episode of The Briefing. If you enjoyed it, we'd love it if you could share this episode with someone you think might enjoy it as well. And if you want to keep up with our other content, we are on Instagram at The Briefing Podcast. We're also on TikTok and YouTube. Search Listener Newsroom. I'm Sacha Barbour Gatt. See you next time.